200 miles from the nearest coast, in the middle of an empty ocean, there's a steel island where a few hundred people live and work for weeks at a time. There are no roads to it, no way to walk away. The only way on or off is a helicopter, and sometimes, when the weather turns, not even that. This is what life is really like on an offshore oil rig. An oil rig is one of the strangest places humans have ever chosen to live. It's a factory, a drilling site, a power station, and a home, all bolted together on legs or floating in the middle of nowhere, sitting directly on top of some of the most dangerous forces on the planet. The people out here work brutal hours in a place that's trying, in a dozen quiet ways, to kill them. And they do it weeks at a stretch, cut off from the world, sleeping a few meters from high-pressure oil and gas. So why do it? And what is it actually like to call this place home? The answers are stranger than you'd think, and it starts before you even arrive. Stay with me, because you can't drive to work out here. You fly. Every trip offshore starts with a helicopter ride over open ocean, sometimes an hour or more, watching the coast disappear until there's nothing below but gray water in every direction. Then a tiny platform appears in the distance, and you land on a helipad barely bigger than the aircraft, perched over the waves. For new workers, that first flight is unforgettable. Equal parts awe and pure nerves, because everyone knows the uncomfortable truth about getting to a rig. The helicopter is both your only way there and the most dangerous part of the whole job, which is why you're not allowed anywhere near a rig until you've survived something genuinely terrifying in a swimming pool. Before they ever fly, offshore workers go through helicopter underwater escape training. They're strapped into a fake helicopter cabin, lowered into deep water, and then flipped completely upside down so they can practice escaping a sinking inverted aircraft in the dark, holding their breath, feeling for the exit. It's as brutal as it sounds, and it exists because helicopters over the sea do go down, and the people who survive are almost always the ones who trained for exactly this. But that's only the start. Before they're cleared to go, workers also learn sea survival, basic firefighting, and emergency first aid. But say, because out here, when something goes wrong, there are no emergency services to call. The crew is the emergency service. Before you can even start the job, you have to prove you can survive getting to it and survive being there. So you've made it out. Where do you actually live? In a cabin smaller than most people's bathrooms. Space on a rig is precious, so crews sleep 2, sometimes 4, to a room, in stacked bunks with a shared bathroom. And because the rig runs around the clock, there's a strange practice on some platforms called hot-bunking, where a day shift worker and a night shift worker share the same bed, one climbing in as the other climbs out, so the mattress is almost never cold. There's not much room for anything personal. A few photos, a phone, a change of clothes. For weeks at a time, that tiny shared cabin is the only private corner of the world you get. And you'll be grateful for it, because just outside that door, the rig never, ever stops. Because a rig costs a fortune to run, it can never be switched off. It works 24 hours a day, every day, which means so do the people on it. The standard offshore shift is punishing. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and then you do it again the next day and the next, with no weekends and no days off for your entire time out there. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes more, of nothing but work, sleep, while the ocean rolls past outside. The crew splits into day and night, 2 halves of one machine passing each other in the corridors like ghosts. Out here, there's no such thing as Saturday. There's only your shift and the next one coming. And the 12 hours off aren't a holiday either. By the time you've eaten and showered, most of it goes on sleep. What's left, people spend in the gym, in a small cinema or TV room, on a game of pool, or on a precious call home. There's a strange monastic simplicity to it, a life stripped down to work, food, sleep, and the same handful of faces over and over until the rotation ends. But there's one part of rig life that surprises almost everyone. The food is incredible. On most platforms, the canteen is open around the clock and the food is genuinely excellent. Huge, hot, all-you-can-eat meals, fresh options, desserts, the works. It's not a luxury, it's a deliberate strategy. When you take away someone's home, their family, their freedom, and half their waking hours, a great meal is one of the few pleasures left, and it's what keeps morale and the whole operation from falling apart. There's a catch, though. Almost every rig in the world is completely dry, not a drop of alcohol allowed anywhere, ever. On a site sitting on top of explosive gas, surrounded by heavy machinery, there's simply no room for anything that dulls the senses, so they pour everything into the food instead. The canteen becomes the heart of the rig, the one warm, busy, human place in a world of cold steel. And you never quite forget what you're sitting on, because a rig's entire job is to pull oil and gas out of the earth under enormous pressure, which means everyone out here lives, sleeps, and eats on top of a controlled explosion. There's the ever-present risk of fire, of gas leaks, including gases you can't see or smell that can kill in moments. That giant flame burning off the side, the flare, is a constant reminder of the raw power running through the place. So safety isn't a rule book out here, it's a religion. Regular drills, alarms, muster points, survival suits always within reach. Everyone knows the history, the handful of catastrophic rig disasters that reshaped the entire industry. That memory rides with every crew. They live alongside the danger, respect it, and never, ever turn their back on it. And hanging off the edge of the platform is the proof of how seriously they take it. Enclosed lifeboats, angled downward, ready to drop from the rig straight into the sea and power away in seconds. Every worker knows exactly which one is theirs and exactly how to get to it in the dark. You hope you never use it, but out here, hope is not a plan. Then there's the thing that gets into people's heads the most. Sometimes you simply cannot leave. Your rotation might be over, your bag might be packed. But if the weather closes in and the helicopters can't fly, you're stuck. For a day, 2 days, sometimes longer, trapped on the platform past the moment you were supposed to go home. And if something goes seriously wrong out here, a medical emergency, an injury, help is that same long flight away, if a helicopter can even reach you at all. That's the psychological weight of the job. It's not just the work or the danger. It's knowing that the way home isn't yours to control. Out here, the sea and the sky decide when you get to leave. So with all of that, the danger, the hours, the isolation, why does anyone sign up? For most of them, the answer is simple. The deal is very, very good. Offshore work pays well, often far better than similar work on land. And it comes with a rhythm unlike any normal job. You might work 2 or 3 weeks solid, then come home to 2 or 3 weeks completely off. Long stretches of hard, isolated work, traded for long stretches of real freedom, time with your kids, projects, a whole second life on land that most jobs never allow. For a lot of offshore workers, that trade is worth it. Weeks of their life given to a steel island in the sea in exchange for a future and a family they could never build any other way. But ask people who've spent years offshore what they remember, and it's rarely the money or even the fear. It's the strange closeness of it. When you're trapped on a tiny island with the same faces for weeks, cut off from everyone else, something unusual happens. The crew becomes a kind of family. They work together, eat together, ride out the storms together, and look out for each other in a place where there's no one else to rely on. Many say the friendships forged out there are the strongest of their lives. And then there's the sea itself. Sunrises no one on land will ever see. Storms of terrifying beauty. An emptiness so vast it changes how a person thinks. Many describe a strange split life, half the year out here on the steel, half of it fully home, and never quite belonging entirely to either. It's one of the hardest, loneliest, most dangerous places to live on Earth. And a surprising number of the people who do it wouldn't trade it for anything. So that's life on an oil rig. Flying to work over open sea, sleeping on top of a controlled explosion, working every hour the weather allows, and living on a steel island you can't leave. All to keep the world's energy flowing from a place almost no one will ever see. The next time you pass a petrol station without a second thought, remember the few hundred people out there in the dark on a platform in the middle of the ocean who made it possible. If you want to keep going, the next one pulls back a curtain most people never see. How the crew of a luxury cruise ship really live, hidden below deck, while the guests party above them. That video's right here.